Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting in 2-3 minutes. Let everyone join. So let's start. Welcome to week 8 of the live interactive session of Joy of Computing using Python. I'm Vikas, PhD scholar in IDFP Space Science and Technology at IIT Jodhpur. This is something about me. This is the website where you can find more details about me, classroom code in case you want to discuss, and all the materials also I'm posting there along with the NPTEL dashboard. It is also available in this classroom, and our schedule is Tuesday 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And this is the meet link, the permanent meet link for this session. And all the recordings of these sessions are available on the YouTube channel mentioned here. You can even contact me on email if you have some query by writing to me. Okay, so to start with, I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as some of you have requested to discuss something about code complexity, certainly that is something beyond the scope of this course, but I am just discussing something so that it can be explained a bit. Okay. So you can say code complexity is something like where we measure how difficult it is to understand, modify, and maintain a piece of software or code. Okay. So this is something that is regarded as code complexity. High code complexity actually can lead to bugs, as we have already discussed. Bugs means problems, or you can say some errors. Okay. So bugs, errors, and reduce productivity, and as well as very hard to modify or to add some feature, or you can say very hard to have some additional feature to it. Okay, so there are some specific matrices which are taken in account when we say about code complexity. Okay, like there is something called cyclomatic complexity, nesting depth. These are matrices uh, that actually help us to understand how complex the code is. We will not go much in details. These terms will actually make it very complex. These terms themselves are very complex. So you can understand that mostly, for example, you can say high complexity codes could be depth, deeply nested conditional statement, means one condition inside another, then another condition, and like multiple conditions, one condition, another one condition, then then this, something like this, multiple, and then if this is not there, then move to here. If this is there, move here, something like a lot of complexity, or code with many interdependent function, means to run something here, we have to depend something on another part of the code. To run here, again, depend on some other part of code. These things actually make them a bit complex. You can read something more. There are a lot of sources. but I have mentioned one where you this one at the bottom. If you see, this one is a link. Anyway, I will be sharing the slides. You can see there. Okay. So, what are generally important when you are talking about code complexity is that the number of line of codes lesser is better. Cyclomatic complexity, we'll see what it is. Class coupling, depth of inheritance. Fine. Are you getting something at least a bit?
Yes, I am getting, sir.
Okay. So, one very important parameter for complexity is cyclomatic complexity. That measures the number of independent paths. When we go about like nodes and this, in fact, we will be learning this later on in this course itself. When we uh, consider things as nodes, okay, node 1, node 2, node 3, like that. And then there is something like paths are there, okay, going from node, different paths are there, okay. So independent path through a program source code. Okay, so how many independent paths means they are not depending on each other. Like from 1 till 4, this is independent. But from 1 to 4, you can even reach through 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. So this is a dependent path. Whereas from certain node 1 to 4, you are reaching directly, that is an dependent path. Okay. So count it is calculated by counting the number of decision points in the code. Decision points are like nodes, you can say, such as if statement and loops, and adding one to the result. Okay. So how many nodes are there? Plus one. That is, that is cyclomatic complexity. Okay. Codes with very high cyclomatic complexity is generally harder to understand. So you can say uh, actually if statement and loops, if we are reducing this, it is better. Okay. So because this will actually generate more possible path through which code can be considered. So there can be multiple ways. Just if we are introducing if statement and loops, that actually introduces multiple ways to do that. Okay. And multiple ways in the sense the code can run in multiple directions and can lead to bugs and errors. Many nested if else, like I said earlier. Okay. Large number of loop or switch statements, which we have not done yet. In fact, switch is not very much preferred until unless it is needed. That switch to this specific function and these things. So this is something about cyclomatic complex. I am just giving an overview since especially Sakshar wanted it, right? So,
Yes, sir, yes.
okay. So the next is nesting depth. Another software metric that measures the depth of nested control functions. So nested means we first saw cyclic complexity, that means nesting one inside another, that increases cyclic complexity, cyclometric complexity. Then is nesting. How much of nesting is there? Like, sorry, I said it the opposite way. One is the number of if else and loops. The other one is one if else inside another, one loop another inside another loop, multiple loops, one loop inside another loop. Okay. So uh, counting the number of levels of nested control. Okay. Like if there is one if else, then inside it how many levels are there? Like if, then elif, then again elif, then elif, like that. So how many levels are there? One, two, three, four, five. There are five levels of nesting. Okay. So uh, too much of nesting there is difficult to understand, maintain, as there are many more things into consideration. a lot of things come into consideration. That is why it becomes difficult. Okay, so a code of with high nesting depth might include code with deeply nested loop or nested if statement with many conditions. Like I said, if elif elif, and then at last else. Okay, so a lot of nesting is done. Then come, what is the best practice to manage code complexity? Okay, is to refactor code is to refactor code to simplify it and make it more modular, like in modules or functions. You can say a lot of use of functions, breaking up complex function or classes into a smaller one, more manageable pieces, and abstracting away implementation details. Like this is also function. Your abstraction of implementation details means using functions. Okay, functions functions are to be used mostly when you are using the same thing multiple times. Okay, like just for one occurrence, it is not. Mr. Sanju Reddy, I cannot check the messages. Okay, we are talking about code complexity, and then we will go into the problems of week 8. Okay, those anyone who is who wants to speak something or ask, you can unmute and say. Okay, I cannot check messages. Okay, the other way is to use abstraction. Generally, when we talk about object-oriented programming, let's not go into that. We can just understand that using modular modules and functions make it easy. Okay, and a very important thing that we can use to reduce the code complexity is something that is actually not a code itself, that is comments. Using a lot of comments, and that also useful comments, like when we are writing the code in the just after that we write what the purpose of code is there. Like when we are starting a new module, we mention what this module is for, what it will do. Such a thing makes it very easy. These are actually, you can say, best practices or good programming practices. Okay, and the last thing is testing it multiple times and regularly. Okay, you cannot say that I will write the full very big code, very big program, and then I will run it. The best way is to run it in small chunks to check till here it is fine. Okay, then go to the next. And that is why when we are using notebook, Jupyter notebook like Colab, it is very easy for us because we are running codes in small pieces. And later on in the Jupyter, I will show you there are ways in which you can directly combine the whole Jupyter notebook into one single code. Okay, so these are some of the ways. Okay, now till here, any questions? I know I will not. I have not went deep into code complexity because that is a bit complex topic. So if you have some questions, and let's understand that a code has to be written such that it is least complex, less number of nested loops, less number of if else if possible, and use functions to make it very easy to understand. Yes, any questions? Snehal, you have some question?
Will we get questions from complexity and Vigo notation?
No, in the exam, it's not going to be there. It is something like some of you asked that in the previous classes that can you explain a bit about code complexity and what things we have to take care while writing code. That is why I covered this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes, actually, you have some question?
Yes, sir. I have a short question. So,
Yeah.
sir, you just mentioned that dividing the program into functions will be reducing the code complexity to a great extent.
No,
Then, sir,
not
I
function, modules. Modules and functions are different things. Like suppose you have to do multiple work. the code is to do something. Okay, you are writing it in modular function in the sense, modular way, I will say, not function, modular way. You say that for one work you are not mixing things up. Okay, you can say that for one specific work that code will do, you are writing one piece of code, then you are going to other piece of work. You are not mixing things up. You are not putting everything in one go, like all four things in at once. That is something that will actually create confusion. Got it?
That means simplifying the program into, sir, if I want, I can divide the same program into four small codes so that I can
Yes,
easily
yes,
manipulate.
yes. That is, you
Okay,
can
sir.
say, modular way. Yeah.
I
Any
got
other
it, sir.
question?
It's a very
Yeah,
simple explanation, sir. Very easy
yeah,
for us.
yeah, yeah. Any other questions?
No, sir, not from my side.
Okay. Anyone? Or any question you have related to this week? Uh, any topic or any concept you are not able to understand, you can ask. Now, please unmute yourself if you have any question and ask. I will not be checking the messages while taking the class. So please feel free to unmute. And the name of the session itself is live interactive session. So I expect interaction from you all. Okay, so I hope there's no question. So let's go to some questions. Okay, so in this week, we have learned about tuples. So what is the correct initialization of tuples? How to create a tuple?
Sir, I will go for option B.
Okay, B. Anyone else?
D, sir.
B.
Yes, sir. D.
B. Okay. And why not C?
Sir, it's a set.
Dictionary.
Okay, someone says it is a dictionary. Someone says it is a set.
Yes, sir. Set
Okay.
from my side.
Yeah, both of them look very similar. Okay, but the difference is that when there will be a key value pair, then it will be a dictionary. When it will have single numbers or single values, it will be considered set. Okay. Any other question in this? Okay, so let's check whether we can do it or not. I think I have it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's put a code here. So let's put D equals to, we have single bracket, right? 1, comma, okay. And then how to check what is it created? What is created here? How can we check it? Anyone?
Use type function.
Type function. Very good. So we can say print and then bracket type of D. Okay. So let's run this and we see it is a tuple. And can anyone tell me what are the properties of a tuple?
Tuple is immutable.
Immutable. So what do we mean by
Yes.
immutability?
Means once
We
when
cannot
if
change the order.
yes,
The
once
order.
when we
Okay.
initialize, so we won't be able to change it.
We can't
Okay.
Change
add
the
or
value.
Change the
items.
values actually, yeah.
We can't
We,
add or delete the items.
yes.
It works
It is
similar to the final variable in other programming languages.
okay. The thing is that you cannot change it all at all, except for deleting the variable. Like only two operations are there in tuple. creating tuple and deleting tuple, nothing else. Okay. Immutable means this is a very good, like this is the correct explanation of it. Immutable. Mutable means change. Mutation means change. Okay. Immutable means that cannot change. Okay. And when I was talking about this, when we were talking about, you say, good coding, coding practices, what we generally do is that, like when you are here, you will write a code, uh, comment. After this, if you write something like creating tuple, what will this do is that actually when you are writing something like this comment will not run at all, but it will make it very easy for someone else when the person sees your code to understand what you are doing here. Okay. So that is also a way to reduce complexity and to make it a bit easier for the code to understand, even when you see it later on, maybe like 6 months, or like this was written 6 months ago, this whole code. Okay. And except for me, if I don't tell what is going on there, someone else cannot understand it until I use something like comments. Okay. If I would have commented like, what is this for? Like, this is for problem one, problem two, these things, actually it would have made a more sensible, no, way of coding. Okay. So whenever, whenever there is a, whenever there is, there are code comments, and remember that you should not put a lot of useless comments also, that also makes it a bit complex. The best way is to use short comments and meaningful and useful sentences, useful comments in that. Okay. So let's come to our problem. So this is the way we initialize tuples, and tuples are immutable. Okay. Immutable means that cannot be changed. So only operation that can be done is, you cannot change any element inside it. The only thing you can do is that create a tuple, and second is delete a tuple. Clear? So can anyone think about why do we even create a tuple if it has no other, we cannot do any other operation on it? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so anyone please try to answer why you think tuple do exist if we cannot change anything in it.
For multiple assignment.
Sometimes
Yes, one by one. Let's. I think Sneha was saying something,
For
right?
multiple
I
assignment.
Okay, yeah, I am Snehal. Yeah, what you are saying?
same answer.
Sneha. For multiple assignments, how I, like, can you explain it a bit in some easy words?
Sometimes we can only write one single statement, but we have to update two values. So we pack those two variables into a tuple and then
Yes.
update the tuple. So both the values get updated in single statement.
Okay, but there is nothing like updation of variable tuple. Can we update a
But
tuple?
the values in the variables get updated. The
Yes, the
tuple is immediately deleted.
whole thing can be updated. Fine. Any other use you can say?
Sir, maybe to store as a permanent copy of something, some variables. It's just a copy, sir.
You can say that, right? Okay.
Also, in some programs, they're used as coordinates,
Yes.
vector
For
coordinates.
Yes, coordinates, or you can say references. Some reference values, suppose we have something that is not going to change throughout the program, you can use it as a reference that these values will be there. Or you can say the company have some standards. Okay, you can say you are keeping some standards to refer. This is the value that will remain. A conversion like inch to centimeter conversion or something like that. Okay, conversion factors and these things which are not going to change. Such things you can store easily in a tuple. Okay, and you don't want that by mistake it gets changed. Okay, it is not going to change anyway. In that case, we go for tuple. And we have already seen that the key and value pairs of a dictionary, they also are given out as tuple. Okay, that is exactly what you people said, that to update the pair we use. So that whole tuple is getting replaced by the new key and value pair when we are updating the dictionary, right? Okay, so okay, now we come to the next question, that is what operations can be done on tuple. Tuples are appendable. Appendable means something can be added to it. We can delete a value from tuples, both A and B. We can count the number of instances of an element.
Sir, I think I will be going for the last option.
D. Okay. Any other answer?
D, sir. Other answer, sir, नहीं sir.
D. Right. So as we had just discussed that they are immutable, so we cannot
Yes.
certainly append it. And since they are immutable, if we cannot add, we are not going to add anything, and we cannot even delete a value. We can delete the whole variable itself. Okay. So we can not delete. Okay. So certainly both of them are wrong. And we can count the number of instances of an element. Okay. We can count how many number of elements are there in the tuple, and it will. Okay. So the correct answer will be we can count the number of instances of an element, or you can say tuple. Okay. Fine.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's come to one code. What will be the output of the following code? T equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is, since it is a simple bracket, it is a tuple. Okay. For I in range -1 minus of length t -1 print ti. What is this going to do?
Sir, I will be going for option C, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. Why not 1?
So because I will be saying that's a minus len of t. So in len of t I can get, so the length is 5. So if I make it -5, that means sir it will be going till -5 plus 1. So sir it will become till -4. So the loop will rotate till -1, -2, -3, -4. And when it is going to come to -5, it won't work. That's why, sir.
Okay.
This is my
Okay.
view, sir.
Okay. Anyone else?
Same answer.
Same answer. Okay. Any other answers?
A, sir.
A. Okay. Why Suraj? A.
सर -1 से माइनस लेंथ तक है तो 5 वैल्यूज आना चाहिए आई थिंक
Okay.
तो
-1 till you can, let's replace this with -5, right? And
यस
this -1. Okay. So the first value will be -1. Then what will be the value? -2, -3, -4, -5 will be there or not?
Sir, it is not included, so it will not be there, sir.
It
I
will
think.
not be there. So if we put the indexes here, like -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So what will we get? As well as when we are running it from negative to positive, so certainly we will not get 1, 2, 3, 4. It will start from 5, 4, 3, 2, like that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
uh, so I also believe it should go till 2, 5 to 2. Let's say check. Okay. Mm, I think yeah, it's done. Okay. The same thing. 5, 4, 3, 2. 1 we are not getting. Okay. And what will we have to do if we want till 1? What change do we need to introduce?
So minus len of t plus 1, I think.
Minus ln of t
-1.
Minus 1.
minus 1. Yes. Why minus 1? Why not plus 1? Because generally we go for plus 1. Why minus 1 in this case? Anyone?
So because everything is reverse.
No, that is not a logic. We have discussed why minus 1. Yes, I think, yeah, Suraj, can you try?
To start from backside.
Yes. So, what we generally do is that, remember, we had discussed this earlier also. The first is, you can, let's use this, okay? We, we put in the range function, it should be something like range, start, and plus increment or decrement, okay? And then the increment or decrement, okay? So, here in this case, our in this case you see our decrement is our increment or decrement, in this case since it is negative, it is decrement is -1. Okay, so we add to the end, we add the value of increment or decrement. So here it is -1. So if you want to find that end, if you want till that end position, in the end position you will have to add the increment or decrement. In this case, it is -1. That is why we will need -1, not +1. Fine. Any confusion in this?
No, sir.
Oh, fine. So that is the reason, not that since everything is opposite, so we are doing it opposite. It's not like that. Okay. So if we want to make it, we can say -1, and let's run this. And in this case, we will get the whole tuple. Okay. Now let's go to Now let's go to okay. So the answer will be C. Okay. Now let's go to our problem 4. What will be the output of the following code? Word equals to Facebook. Okay. Uh, don't take it otherwise. It is just I have used the word Facebook. It is not related to any, like, we can use any word. Okay. And we are creating new equals to, what is being done here? Anyone can try?
Empty string.
An
We are
empty
creating an
string
empty string so that we can store values later on when we need
later.
it.
Yes. And for W in word. So for W in word, what will this do? I think we have discussed it many times. What will this do?
So means from the first word to the last word, so it will be rotating and
Word.
initially increasing the values by 1 after extracting each of the characters.
So we can say that the value of
It will
W,
take each character of the string.
yes, it will be each character of the string. Right. Okay. And then I equals to ORDW. Okay. J
So
equals to
is it ORD or so WRD?
It's ORD.
Okay,
Not
sir.
ORD. Sorry, it is WORD, right? Wait, no, yeah, ORD.
Okay, sir.
So what is happening here? Can anyone try? Sakshar, you are not audible. You are trying to say something?
No, no, sir. I am mentally calculating, and then, sir, I will be
Uh,
telling you.
okay. Anyone else? This part, is anyone understanding this part? What is happening here? Line 7.
Yes, sir. ASCII code, sir. We are working
I
with the ASCII code of the individual
Yeah.
alphabet.
Yeah, Snehal, you are also saying something.
I use the ASCII value. First, we increment it by 26.
Yes.
Uh,
So
so
what will
that
happen if we
every
increment it by 26?
if it's a lowercase character, it gets converted into the ASCII value of the uppercase character.
Yes.
Uh, and then we are subtracting the. How can I explain this?
Subtracting 97 from it
Uh,
and then dividing it by 26 and then adding 97 to it again. Dividing by 26 and taking just the remainder, right?
yes, sir.
And then
Sir, but
again adding.
eventually, sir, at the end of the first letter, sir, if we consider the letter F, then sir, F is 103. 103 plus 26 means 129. 129 minus 97 means 29 plus 3, that is 32. 32 more 26 means 6. And 6 plus 97 is 103. That means, sir, it is eventually coming back to the same letter, sir. F is equal to 103 previously we considered, and then now also it is becoming 103. Sir, I am having some difficulty understanding this.
So what is happening here actually?
Sir, we are actually bringing in J, we are actually storing the ASCII value of the letter F. That means that each of the words we are storing the ASCII values. Yes, sir, that
Yes.
is my point.
Any changes? Is any change happening here? Anyone?
Sir, what is I is equal to ORD, W is doing?
ORD is you can say we are converting the letter into values. Like we discussed earlier also, each character or each letter is actually represented by some numbers. Okay, they correspond to some numbers in Unicode or ASCII, whatever you take. In this case, it is being converted to Unicode value. Every letter have actually some corresponding values, and that when that value is read, it will actually be converted into that specific character. Okay, so we are finding out what is the value of it, and then we are doing some mathematical calculation in line 7, and then we are again converting it into character by using the typecasting of CHR. You see in line 9, we are putting CHRJ. Okay, so what this will do is that it will convert this number back to character again. So how much change is there in the value?
No, sir, there is some change, sir. There is some change.
Yes,
I'm
what change is
calculating.
there?
No change will be there.
No change will be there.
The answer is Facebook.
Facebook only. Right.
Yes, sir. I eventually said the same thing, sir, 5 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
means we are actually getting
So
the same letter, even
so
after so much
actually with
time.
so much of calculation, we are actually getting the same letter. Let's check. Okay. In fact, we will be getting the same thing, right?
Yes, sir.
We are getting the same. How? And like seeing this, at first you will say that no, there is some change, okay, because we are adding 26 and then subtracting 97. But still, if we divide it by 26, we will get the same thing. Uh, the remainder will be the same, okay, and then we are adding 97 to it. And so, since 97 is the starting of small letters, okay, it will again give us the same letters here, okay. What if we wanted it not to be small letter but capital letters? What can we do here?
Sir, plus 65 minus 65.
Plus 65 minus 65 here.
Sir, in place
Hmm.
of minus 97 and plus 97 respectively.
Okay, let's put here.
Yes, sir.
But it is not Facebook. It is something else.
Now, if it
I
was
need to think.
originally a capital letters, then it would have been correct. Originally, if it is written in capital letters, Facebook,
Mhm.
then the same result will be there. Now it is in small letters, so it is giving difference.
So the capital letters start with 65. Okay, literally the first part is doing nothing, but what it is doing is that it is extracting out. You can say small letters. Let's write here. Okay. The small letters start from 97. Okay, so we have some value f. F will be 6, right? So if we start from 1, so 97 plus 6 it is there. What is being done is that it is incremented by 26 and 97 is reduced. So it becomes 26 plus 6. Okay, because this 97 goes out. And now if we are dividing it by 26, what the remainder remains is remainder will be 6. Now, if we add this number to 97, it becomes a small letter again. Plus 6, it is small again. But if we add it to 65, then we will get the capital letters. Okay. 97 is used to extract out so that otherwise the remainder divisible by dividing it by 26 will not give us the exact location of the letter. And that is why when you are using 65, it is giving us something else. Okay? Because between these two letters, there are some symbols also. We know that 26 letters are there, but after that, some symbols are also there. That is why you see between 65 to 97, the difference is not 26. Clear?
So do we have to
Yes, sir.
remember positions?
No, no, that's not needed. You just need to know these small things like from 97 starts the small letters, from 65 starts the capital letters, and in between there are some symbols. Out of interest, you can check those. You don't need to remember those. Okay, no one remembers anyway. Okay, clear?
Yes,
Any
sir.
doubt in this?
No, sir.
No.
Sir, I had a small question, sir. ORD
Yeah.
of W, sir, is that a function? That means, sir, ORD
Yes.
is a function or we?
Yes. This is a keyword. Oh, yeah. This is used to. Yeah. That is why I said if I would have written here that converts to Unicode, it would be much easier to for you all to understand. Right? Let's put that here. So the correct answer is Facebook itself. Now let's come to problem 5. When the following program will clap. Okay, not the sound, it will write clap. Okay, it is saying please enter a number between A to Z. Player 1 string input. So whatever you enter, that will be taken in and converted to string. Player 2, whatever you enter, it will be converted to string. While true. Uh, can anyone tell what will this do?
So this implies that the program, that means the loop module is going to run as long as the user is not going to terminate, or as
Yes,
long as it is not going to encounter a break or exit statement.
yes. Exit statement is not there. Break is there.
Break
Yeah,
statement.
break statement. So whenever we are using such things like while true, while one, and this thing, we must take care that a break statement is there. Otherwise, it will never stop. If ORD player one dot lower. So here you see in this part, actually three things are being done. Plus one is equal to ORD player two dot lower. Okay, it will print clap. So first, can anyone try what is happening here?
Yes, sir, I can try. Sir,
Yeah.
actually, sir, when we means two players are entering two different strings, two different letters. For example, sir, I am entering A and my partner or teammate is entering B. That means,
Hmm.
sir, when player one dot lower, that means, sir, when I'm entering A in capital letters, then sir, it is automatically going to convert into lowercase. Or if I am entering in small letters, then it is going to retain A, and then, sir, it is going to add 1 to this value. That means, sir, A's value is 97, it will make it 98. And then, sir, it is going to check whether it is equal to the ASCII value of B or not. So ASCII value of B is 98. So if 98 is equal to 98, then it is going to print clap. That means, sir, the first player's entered letter will be the previous letter of the second player's entered letter. So this is my logic.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Suraj, you are also trying to say something.
Yes, same
Perfect
thing he
explanation by
said.
Sakshar Das. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, sir.
examples. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one important thing to take care here is that uh, why in line 3 and 4 we are putting str? Is it of any relevance here? Str here and str here.
Not really, sir, because it's already a string before. Means if we
Yes,
enter it without str, then also it is going to be the same.
yes. So even if we enter, if we don't put str, it should not have any effect. Let's check. Okay. So what will be the case in which there will be clap? And I think Sakshar has explained once. Great. Uh, anyone else? Suraj?
Sir, I have one thing to add, sir.
Yeah.
If others finish speaking, so I will be offering others a chance to speak at first. Then I will
Yes.
say.
Sure. Anyone else can try? Okay, I think yeah, Sakshi, you can continue.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have found one thing. So this program is not going to work if I enter A and the next means I enter Z and the next person enters A. Because sir, here there means conversion into minus 32 and that thing is not written. So sir, it is going to work as long as means the letters entered, the second player enters Z and the first player enters Y, and in the starting point it is going to be A and B and ending point will be Y and Z. So if I enter Z and the next person enters A, or if the next person enters A and I enter Z, then it is not going to work. So
Not
this
bad.
is
So
what I
it is
think.
not cyclic. Yeah, it is not
Yes, it's not
cyclic.
right.
Yeah. So what should be the correct answer?
Option B.
Option B. When player 2
Yes,
will enter
option
the
B.
next letter with respect to player 1. Great. Okay. So let's check. Okay. So it is asking from some letter between A to Z. Let me put something like C here. And for player 2, I am putting like E. And it will keep on asking till I am putting consecutive letters, right? So here let's put A. Okay. When they are consecutive, a clap is there. When they are not, nothing happens. It keeps on asking. Fine.
Sir,
So the
if you
correct,
put Z and A, then sir, it won't work. Sir,
yeah,
the thing which
let's
I
try
found
that.
out.
Let's try that. Z.
And then
Mhm.
A. Yes,
Yeah,
it
it is
won't work.
not going to work. Certainly because we are not using the modulus
Minus
function.
that, sir.
We could have done something like modulus, like putting a minus 32 and then using the modulus thing, and then it would have worked. But anyway, it is the problem is something like it is given something like this only. Okay, so if you put something like C and then we put D, it claps. So consecutive, when the player 1 and player 2 they are putting consecutive letters, it is working. So the correct answer should be B. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move to our next problem, problem 6. What will be the output of the following program? Import random and then matplotlib.pyplot as plt. What is this doing? Anyone who remembers from the class?
Sir, it is used for graph plotting, sir. Graph plotting, sir, we are going to enter the coordinates and then, sir, it is going to plot a graph on the screen.
Yes. And what is this doing as plt? Why we are using this?
Sir, because this is a very long function and we are just using an abbreviation so that we can use it in the later parts of the program easily.
Okay, great. Anyone else would like to add on this?
It will be easy to write because we have to write only PLD. Otherwise, we have to write entire
Yes,
thing.
the entire thing, as well as we will have, as we already know that we will have to use resolution operator, that is dot. And so we will be using two resolution operators like matplotlib dot pyplot dot plot. That will actually create a lot of confusion. And sometimes when we have larger name of libraries, we go for such things also. Okay. And then we are putting L equals to square bracket. So what is this doing?
Creating an empty list for future
Empty list.
storage of elements.
Yeah. Count equals to 0 for I in range 10. So this will start from 0 and go till 9. Guess equals to random dot rand in 1 comma 10. What is this mean?
Sir, it is going to pick
Randomly.
up a random number between 1 and 10. It
Yeah.
can be 1 or 2 or 3 or dot 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 till 10. Not more than that.
Okay. I think someone else was also saying the Avenger one. Yeah. Uh, Can you say what you are saying?
Randomly choose the value between 1 and
Right.
10.
Yes. Good. And can you try to use your real name because it is very uneasy, like uneasy to address you by some fictitious names. Okay. So it is going to generate some random numbers between 1 to 10. So will these values 1 and 10 be included or not?
Yes, both will be included.
Both will be included. So it can even be 1 and it can even be 10 also. Okay. And then is pick dot pick equals to random dot rand int 1 to 10.
Same
What
thing.
is big done? Same thing. But here it is pick and above guess. So there are two, uh, these are two functions or variables.
So just random variables. Sir.
Yeah,
These are not just variables that are created for one is for guessing and one is for picking. So separate
okay.
variables, but same function is used.
Yes. So we will have two randomly generated integers between 1 to 10. and one will be assigned to guess, other will be assigned to pick. If guess not equals to pick, remember this exclamation mark and equal, that means not equal to symbol, pick, then count plus equals to 1, L dot append count. So we will put the value of count in there by increasing it. Else count minus equals to 1, like if they are same, they are the same value, then we will remove 1 from there and we will put the count to there. And then we will plot it by plt.plot L, plt.show. So what will this do?
Option D.
Option D, both B and
Yes.
C. Okay. So B is the graph will go down when the guess and pick are the same. Down why? Because we are reducing the count by 1 whenever they are same. The graph will go up when the guess and pick are not the same.
Exactly.
Since we are adding 1 to it, let's check. Okay. Uh, it is a straight line. Very peculiar. Let's check once more. Still a straight line. Let me check. Okay. Let's do one thing that let's print L so that we can see what is happening here. Okay, sorry, smaller.
It's in
The
lower.
guess and pick are never coming same, so the graph is always going up.
Yeah, they are not coming same at all.
Because we are taking only 10 events only. So out of 10 events
Yes.
is not.
Yeah, you see every time it, but one, yeah, in this case, it is going down, same, going down once because at one point the values are same. If we very rightly pointed out that if we are going to increase the number of these occurrences, like let's go for range of 100, okay, and let's see then how the graph looks like, because in that case the probability of difference will be same. Okay, you see in this case there are a lot of fluctuations. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So uh, and every time since we are going for random numbers, we are seeing a different pattern. Fine. Any confusion in this?
No, sir.
Anyone else? So the correct answer is both B and C. Okay. What does NLTK do? I think this has been mentioned in the video. NLTK. Anyone remembers?
A option, sir.
A. Helps to work with human language data. Okay. Anyone else? Everyone agrees with it?
Maybe B, sir, as well.
Maybe why? Like, because this will be certain. Either it is or it is no.
A is the correct answer. Helps to
A is
work
the
with
correct
human
answer
language
because
data.
it is
Natural
a
language.
natural language toolkit. Yes. So it helps to work with human language data, and it is something that is widely being used since nowadays we are very much trying to work with human language and replicate it in machines like Google Assistant, Siri, and a lot of things, Cortana, and a lot of things has come up. Okay, so the correct answer is helps to work with human language data. Okay, what is the output of the code? String equals to hey there, A equals to sorted string, A dot reverse, print A. I think this is quite easy. We have already done it somewhere.
C, sir.
C. Okay. Any other answers? And be ready with why also, not just answers. Why is it this? Is this happening?
By sorting, it is arranged serially
Yes,
where that exclamatory mark comes first, but on reversing it gets back.
it gets okay. But
And
there is one
it's
very important question here: is that we have a string, but we are never converting it into a list. Yet the output is a list. Is it possible? In the code, nowhere it is being converted into a list. We are not converting this string into a list anywhere.
that sorted functions provides output in list format.
Yes.
So
But
sorted automatically converts it, I think, because a string is immutable, sir.
no,
Yes, sir. Same thing.
string
I
string is not immutable. String is not immutable. But yes, Suraj, you were saying something.
Yes, sir. I think that it is automatically converted to a list when we set E is equal to sorted string.
Yes. So as we have discussed previously also, that
Sir, I think it's a tuple. So it's converted into list because we use sorted. Sorted is used to convert a tuple into string.
uh, from where tuple comes here. Uh, like as we have discussed earlier also, a string is actually a list of characters, you can say. Okay. Whenever we like convert it into, even we can go to the conversion of list, and in fact all the list operations work on strings. We have seen already sorted, reverse, and these things very well work with the strings because they are actually a list of characters. Okay, and certainly since they are mutable, they cannot be tuple. You can add, you we have already seen how to add something to a string. Like let's run this code as well as, yeah. First, this is fine, and remember that we can even add something to a string, like string and quotes. Let's say, okay, okay. So you see, it can be changed. So certainly it is not. It cannot be a tuple. It is mutable. Since we can change it, we can append it. We can even remove something, just like we do for a list. And by default, any string is a list. That is why no need of converting it into a list here. But whenever we are using the sorted function, it actually comes into its original form, that is in the form of a list. That is why we are seeing the output as a list. To convert it into a string again, we will have to put something like str. So, okay, still it is. It is not getting converted. Okay, we'll do it. It is getting converted into a list, and there might be something, that is why it is not getting converted back into a string, but generally it gets converted. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, any confusion in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. My volume is slow. Like, okay, just a minute. Let me check. I am clearly audible, or some issue in that?
No, you are clearly audible. No issue.
Clearly audible, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we can hear
Fine.
you clearly, sir.
Okay. Fine. So either generally when we have a list, we can directly convert, or in such cases where we are not able to convert directly, generally it happens because we have a lot of things here. So what you can do is that we can run a for loop where we keep on adding something, like we create an empty string and these things. Like we can go for something like for and a, and then we can say let's put an empty string. Yes. Okay. So if we want to convert it, we can do like this also. But by default, any string is a list. It is list of all the characters, and multiple occurrence. Since in a list, multiple occurrences are allowed, reversing is allowed, appending is allowed. We can use all these operations, and even slicing, like we have seen earlier also. I think in week 5 we saw, right, that we can even slice just like we slice the list. Okay, so the correct answer should be C. And remember that we can use any list operation on the string. It is fine. Generally, it works. Okay. So while converting an image into black and white during enhancement, you cannot convert it back into a colored image. Is it true or false?
I will go for option B, sir.
False. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
False, sir.
False. Okay. So it is false. It can be converted back into a colored image. How? Can do anyone knows how an image is saved, or like how we take the image for enhancement and these things? Okay. Uh, let's assume that there
So
is
we
an
use applications like Photoshop and all for this.
okay. So let me just explain a bit basic of it. Okay, you will get an idea that we have seen. In fact, when we went for the pattern of this star and like star, 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 the triangle based on this, I said that actually whenever we see some graphics on our computer, we are actually seeing small. It is a collection
Pixels.
of very small pixels or very small patterns. Okay, every image, and nowadays we are talking about a lot of megapixels and these things. So most of us are aware that actually there are very small dots in which these different colors are there, and when kept together they look like an image. Okay, they look like a full picture. So for uh, let's assume a small picture only, and I am just dividing it into different pixels. Okay, bigger one for everyone to understand. Okay, so the there are two. Generally, there are two type of pictures. Like one will be black and white. Okay, and one will be colored. Okay, in case of black and white, what happens is that we have value of the white level or the black level, you can say. Okay, but in case of color, generally we know there are three different colors. For every color corresponding, like every corresponding color will have different values, and that value will be combination of three values. Okay, like something like 0 to 244, 300 something, and nowadays even one more alpha value is there, which is transparency. Okay, so when we are converting, and then suppose this small, you can say that it is like a table where we have row and column numbers, and then we have like 4, 10, and 25, something like that. Okay? Three different values are there: RGB, red, green, and blue. So when we are converting it into a black and white image, what happens is that it this is not fully false, also not fully true, because in some cases what happens is that all these are added together and converted into a intensity. In that case we cannot recover it. But yes, generally what it does is that it takes out the red component separately, green component separately, and blue component separately, and then enhancement is done, and then we can put them back together. So you can say that in one file, this value, first values will be kept together, and we will get a single image on which some processing can be done. Then in another file, we put the second values, and then again we do the processing. And in another case, or the third values for all the different points, and then we do the processing, and then we can put them back together. So it is not always true that we cannot convert back into colored image, but it is not always false also. Sometimes it is not possible. Okay, fine. Any confusion in this?
That means that it is false for majority of the cases, but not all the cases.
Yeah, it depends on what you prefer, because if you are going for such applications, we are where you are taking these three separately, then it is fine. But in case where you are going for such applications which take which actually omit these things, and then just keep on the intensity things, then it is not possible.
Sir, will you tell us for white all the RGB values are 000. Like that for black, which values are there?
It's opposite. In case of black, actually all the values are 000, and in case of white, it is 255, 255, 255. Generally, if we are using 8-bit encryption, like 2 to the power 8 is 256, right?
Okay.
So it is like that.
So value
So
cannot
how many?
be
Yeah.
value
Yes.
cannot be greater than 255.
I'm not getting you what you are asking.
Values color values cannot be greater than 255.
They can be. It depends on what kind of levels are being used.
Okay.
Like some in general, the pictures uses 256 levels. Like you can say 256 different shades of red, 256 different shades of blue, and 256 different shades of green make the whole color set. But
Okay.
if you have something of better resolution, like 1024 levels of values, then certainly there will be more vibrance, and you will get more clarity of pictures. But that will also use a lot more of data, and a lot more of the picture size will also increase. That is why generally 256, 1024, these are the maximum things we get.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So well, sir, means generally, sir, how many bits are used? Sir, you said in case of 8 bits, it's from 0 to 255. Sir, generally, sir, how many bits are used, sir? I'm asking that.
Uh, that depends on what kind of encoding is used. If you're JPG 8-bit, JPG 16-bit, there are a lot of encoding. Let's not get into that. That is something like for general understanding. Uh, let's not go into 256 also. Let's assume there are only 8 bits, like 8 levels. Okay, starting from 0 till 7, and all the values are in that. Okay, that also makes it very easy to understand. Okay, if you are using 3 bits, 2 to the power 3, that is 8, and that will also work. Okay,
That means 8 minus 1 equal to 7, right, sir?
yeah, because we generally, you have seen
Zero.
in computer we generally start with
Yes,
0, so we go one less than the maximum available.
I got it.
Okay, so let's come to our problem 10. That is, what is this code doing? And here we are creating a function test, and we are giving an input word. New word equals to an empty string. For ch in word, if ch is greater than equal to small a and ch is less than equal to small z, we are converting it into Unicode, subtracting 32, then converting it back into character, and then adding it into new word. And at last, we are returning the new word. So what is happening here?
So we are actually converting the lowercase letters into uppercase. That means that here
Okay.
joy of computing is there. It will be printing capital in uppercase joy of computing. That means
And
sir, in the
what
option
if
we will get option A.
A? Okay. And what if we had something like J capital?
Sir, if J is capital, then something else will happen.
What
No,
will happen?
nothing will happen because in if condition it is not. It will not go inside the if
Oh
condition.
yeah.
So
Yes.
it will be returned as it is.
Or
Yes,
it will be
Professor sir, I
omitted.
missed out that point.
Sir,
Yeah. Yes, Suresh.
sir, how can we apply a greater than or equal to option on strings?
Because they are also values. Remember, in fact, in line 8, what we are also doing is that we are we are converting into exact numeric value, Unicode values here. Okay. So this also works fine because at the back end, they are numbers only.
But sir, they become numbers when we convert them using ORD command, or
Uh,
it is
for comp
already number.
for comparison, they work fine, but you cannot do addition and subtraction on direct strings since we are subtracting numbers here, right? That is why we are converting it into Unicode in line 8 and 9 for line 8 and 9. But in case of comparison in line 6, it will work fine. It will have no issues because here we are just comparing which one is greater, which one is lesser. So it will work fine here.
So meaning we can compare, but we cannot do our mathematical operations.
Yes, remember we tried once adding a number to a string, it was not working directly, but when we were trying to add a string to a string, it was working fine. Like we can add A plus B. And what will happen in this case? It will give AB, right? But if we
Yes,
try
sir.
to add A plus 2, this is going to give us an error. Okay, this will be an error for us. And we have even
Answer
seen,
A star 2 will give AA.
yeah, A multiplication 2 will give us A, A. But A multiplied by B will give us an error since this function is not allowed. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, okay, I have changed a bit. So let's check here. So it is getting into capital letters. Okay, I have changed some more things here. Okay, this part was not there in our code, right? So here, one thing to see is that it is not taking care of the spaces because we have not specified spaces. We are just talking about when it is between A to Z. We are taking that character. Otherwise, we are doing nothing at all. Okay. So if I put J capital, that is ignored altogether. It will directly go to O because there is no else condition. So what we are doing is that if it is not mentioned like else in all the cases, I am directly adding the character. So then it will take care of the spaces as well as the capital letters. Fine. So if we are putting some symbols here, what will happen? Anyone?
It will be also printed as it is, the symbols,
It will
because
be
it will
printed
also
as it is.
not
Yes.
come. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So for all capital letters and symbols, it will work as it is. Okay. Like H was capital, it is being printed as it is. Symbols are being printed as it is. And if we are not using this part, it will just print all the small letters only. And that also converted into capital letters. Right? And even the spaces are not taken care of. Fine. Any confusion till here?
No, sir.
Oh. So converting lowercase into uppercase, and we can say that the spaces and symbols will be ignored and capital letters will be ignored. Okay. Now let's come to programming assignments. Okay. Write a function cube t. This will be the name of the function that accepts a list L and returns a tuple containing cubes of elements of L. Okay. So, like we have something like t equals to a tuple 1, 4, 9, 8, something like this. Okay. And we want a tuple as output. This will be input and the output will be 1 cube, that is 1, 4 cube, that is 64, I think. Yeah.
Sir, T will be in the square brackets, right, sir?
Why square bracket? It is
Sir,
okay.
because it is
List,
accepting a list, sir.
yeah, a list L, yeah. So it will be yeah. Write a function that accepts a list and it yeah. See a list here, it will be a list here. So what will be the values? I'm audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 9
So it
cube
will be 1,
is
64,
7.
81, comma, so 9 cubes, yes, sir, 729, then sir, 8 cube will be 512.
5. Okay. And this will be a list and this will be a cube. So can anyone tell how we will do this? And how is this exponential thing taken care of? Like what is the symbol of exponent power in case of
Double
Python?
star.
Double star. Yes. Right. We have double star that is for power. So how can we make this?
For T in capital T,
Let's write this code, right? Okay, so
or small t in capital T.
for small t in capital T,
Before that, we have to declare one variable as C.
Hmm.
C is equal to
Is equal to
1.
1. Okay, let's put
We have
that.
to make cube of it.
Okay.
So
Put T in T.
T
Then
for T in T,
let's start with the name of the function itself, right? So that we will have less confusion. Okay. Def cube T. And then we are going to take in list L as input. Okay. Then what we will do first, we will be creating an empty tuple. Is it fine?
yeah,
Then how will we add something to the tuple?
Empty list.
Empty list. We'll have to create a list since we will need to add things, and when everything is done, we will need to convert it into tuple. Since we cannot change the tuple in the code, so at last we will convert. Since we want out like the return should be a tuple, but if we define a empty tuple here, we cannot change anything to it. Okay, we will try both of these and let's check what happens. Okay, so let's create C equals to for now, let's create a tuple only. Okay, and then what we will do, we will do C dot append
T double star P.
and then we will return C,
C.
and then we can say so what is the problem here? Name T is not defined. Okay, so okay, here it will be L, or we can say T also, not an issue. So what is it saying? It is saying the tuple object has no attribute append. So append does not work with a tuple. So what we will have to do is that we will have to have a list, and at last we need to convert it into tuple. So how we can do that?
Empty list
Empty list, and here we can directly write tuple of
L. C.
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 Right? So in this case, you see it is getting converted and it is being returned as a tuple. If we have to print, it will be fine. Since it is the last line, it is giving us the output, but in all other cases, it will be missed. Okay, so we are getting 164, 729, 512 as we expected, and that is in single brackets. So it is a tuple. Now we cannot change anything to it. Like if we go for something like, let's put okay, and then if even if we try to put something x dot append, since it is a tuple, will not be able to do anything to it. Here it will be a error. So we can append in the list, but not in tuple. So in line 8, it will not work. It will work in line 4 because there it is a list, and later on we are converting it into tuple. You can either create another variable and then return it, or you can directly do that in the return statement like in line 5. Clear? Any issues in that?
No, clear, sir.
Any questions? Okay, fine. So let's go to assignment 2. That is, given a string s, so we will have s as input. Write a function, replace v. So the function's name will be replace v, that accepts a string and replaces the occurrence of 3 consecutive vowels with underscore in that string. And this answer has to be returned. It has not to be printed inside the function, it has to be returned and printed outside. Like if we have triple A hello with the triple O, the output should be HELL, and all the three consecutive vowels. Like here there are 3A, 3O. They have to be replaced with a single dash, and there is also E, but it is not replaced because E is occurring only once. Okay. How can we do this? Anyone?
So we have to run a for loop from range of 0 to length minus 3.
For range?
For I
Let,
in range, sir.
okay, for I, let's do for
For
I
I in range,
in range,
bracket,
len of
len of s,
len of s. Okay, fine.
yes, sir, minus 3.
Minus 3. Why minus 3?
So because sir, I will be checking the individual characters, sir, I will be extracting each character using the ORD function, and then sir, I will be checking the current letter, means the current value of I, then I plus 1 and I plus 2. So if these 3 letters are going to be same, then I am going to add an underscore to a, means to the new string which I am going to create. Otherwise, sir, I am going to add the original letter and then I am going to increment.
Sir,
Yes, yes, Suresh.
I think there should be len s minus 2.
Minus 2. Why?
Sir, because if we do minus 3, we will miss out the last three, uh, the last three characters.
Okay. So one is if we are putting 3,
Yes,
we will
minus
be
2.
missing out last 3 characters. Okay. Last character. Okay. And if we are putting minus 2, we will be missing how many characters? Let's try both of them, and only one of them is correct. And you be prepared with why. Why is it different? Like, let's start trying this. Okay. That, what we had to create is replace v, right? And we are taking an input. Let's say word. I will say. Okay. So what we will do for CHN. Will we go with
-2.
in let's not put CH because I think we will be going with numbers, right? For I in range, right?
Yes, sir. Len of what? -2.
Len of word -2. Okay.
Yes, -2.
Then what we will do?
Then, sir, we'll be using the ORD function for this word of I plus 1, word of I plus 2.
But why?
Sir, to check the equality of the individual characters. That means,
But
sir, if
that can be done even if it is not converted into Unicode. We have seen comparison can be done without conversion to Unicode.
yes, sir, then sir, I can use sir word of I plus 1, word of I plus 2. So this is also possible. Sir.
Word of I, okay. Word of square bracket I, right?
Yes, sir.
I, and then how will we compare it?
Sir, if word of I equal to word of I plus 1 equal to word of I plus 2.
Okay, okay. We will try this, then I will tell you what is the issue here.
Yes, sir.
It will cover consonants also, not necessarily vowels.
Yes, one issue is that.
There is no need of it will be equal. It will be only vowels.
Yeah,
Three consecutive vowels. Not need to
yes,
be
not
equal.
equal. Yeah, so first we will have to check if it is a vowel
Vowel.
or not. Otherwise, we just need to ignore it, right? So we can say, so let's say if, and how do we check this, that if it is a vowel or not?
Preferably, if we make a list for all the vowels, 5,
Yes, and
Yes.
then,
it is in that list.
okay. So we can say if word I in, and then the list, okay.
List.
And instead of list, we as we have discussed that
A
the
comma I
string,
comma I comma
yeah,
U inside
yeah,
a
the
list.
string itself, it is a list. So we can say A, E, I, O, U. Okay. Directly it will work for us.
Okay, okay, yes.
And
Additionally, capital also we should do.
yeah, so, and to take care of capital and small, what we can do is that we can convert the word to either smaller or capital letters here itself. Okay. Uh, we can, or what we can do is that we can put something like, I think this will be better that we keep capital A, E, I, O,
You
U,
and then
right?
also okay.
Yeah. And then inside it, we will create another if else. Like if this is fine, then we will compare if it is matching consecutively or not. Okay. So how will we do that? Sakshar, you were saying something?
No, sir, not at this instance.
No,
So
like
yes, sir, here I was
how
saying,
were you comparing this?
sir, I was initially saying that sir, if word of I is equal to word of I plus 1 and
Yeah.
word of I plus 1 equal to word of I plus 2.
Yes. And uh, first you were putting all three of them together. That is not possible. We will have to use and here. And since comparison and AND operations are binary operations, we can have only two comparison at once. Like we can compare
Yes.
between two things at once, not more than two. Okay. So we will
Yes.
put and
And word of I plus 1 is equal to word of I plus 2.
the word, or we can even compare with the first itself word of
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can. We can, sir.
I. There is
Equal to word of I plus 2.
Sir, I think it is not necessary to be equal.
which one?
The three are not necessarily to be required to be equal, because they should be vowel only, not equal
No, it
vowel.
is saying
There
and
should be
the
3
occurrence of
consecutive.
three consecutive vowels.
Vowel A, E, U can do. We should also replace, if beautiful is word beautiful is used, so that string EU should be also replaced by that underscore. So not necessarily equal to.
Yes. And replaces the occurrence of three consecutive vowels. Yeah, so even E is there. We need to replace this also, right?
Okay. That means a consecutive identical vowels. Okay, sir. I got it.
Yeah,
Then my
here,
logic isn't correct, sir. So
yeah,
please
here
discard
that
my
is.
line. It's not correct.
Then what we can do is that
We have to check all the three elements in list or not, in that string or not.
hmm,
That is sufficient.
so how
Because
can we do that?
AI plus 1, AI plus 2, all these three are in that string, then
Yes.
replace statement will be there.
So since we will be using this string multiple times, let's create a variable for it as t equals to, right? So we can say mst. We can either put all three in the same line using AND operation. I plus 1 st.
And
I think this is obstructing. And now we have to take care that if we write like this, one and then another one and then end, this is not going to work since end is binary operation. So what we will have to do for the first two, we will have to put one set of bracket and then the another one. So these two will be compared first, and then the uh, rest function will be compared. So always remember, whenever you are using and or, they are binary operations. So they two things can be used in and or, not more than two. Here, three things we were trying, that is not possible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not developers. This is fine. Then one more thing we have to do is that we have to have one variable which will store this. Okay, so let's put it as new word. New word equals to, okay. So in this case, what we have to do is that we have to replace this three with a single dash. But how will we skip the next two? Because in this loop, what will happen? Okay, for now, let's put new underscore is equals to, what will we add? Underscore. Fine. Then what we will do? In the else statement, what we will have to do?
New word plus word I.
Plus equals to, we can say word I. Yes, fine. But now we will have some problems. Like let's say we will return new word. This is fine, but let's see what happens.
We will
Yes,
still not replace some vowels in this case, I think,
yes. How? Why?
because we just pass in when we see three vowels, we replace because of one. But when we just cross this one and only two left, then we will not be clearing the first if case, and so these two vowels will be printed.
Yes. So how to take care of this thing?
We have to move forward three places so that we don't have to check the previous cases again.
Yes. So how can we do that?
We should change the I value with three steps. Means we should increase three steps in I value. In
Yes, very good. But only when we find three consecutive vowels, right?
yes, sir. So in first if case we will do that, not in else case.
Yes. So how can we do that?
We will just in this if statement we will
Hmm,
type I equals to I plus
hmm.
3.
But again, in this loop, that I will be overwritten. Let's try that. Okay, fine. We will put I uh, plus equals to 3, right? But still, it will give us the same thing. Here, there will be a simple fundamental change. We cannot go with this when we have to skip uh, this iterations. We never go for a for loop. Okay, we always go for a while loop. Okay, so how we can do that is that let's create another one. We say,
Sir, did you just run this or not?
yeah, if I am running this, see, it is still doing the same thing, just like it was doing earlier, because I will be overwritten. Though we are increasing it by 3, but again, when we are going to the next loop, the
Oh,
i's
right,
value
right,
is
right,
changed
right.
in line 4.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so to take care of this, we can do is that we can create something like, we can have something like this. While let's have one variable count. Okay, instead of count, let's put I because that is common here, right? While I is less than len of word. Fine. And at first, we will put I equals to 0. And here, we can put I plus equals to 1. Is it working fine now? Is it fine what we wanted, or even if we put something like E, O, still it will work fine here. Clear? Any doubts in this? I am audible or not? Hello?
Yes, sir. Well,
Okay. So is this fine? Are you able to understand what is happening here?
yes, sir.
Okay. So whenever we have such conditions where we need to skip, we are not going to go serially, there we will have to use the while. Okay. So it is not that always we need to have for loop only. And the basic
Sir,
difference between for and yes, Suraj.
uh, is there any possible way where we can do this in for loop?
See, in for loop, every time it will be rewritten. Okay. The basic difference between for loop and while loop is that loops are, you can say, of two kinds. First one is predefined, where we know how many times we need to run. Okay. But in this case, since it is a conditional, it is going to be a conditional loop where we don't know how many times it has to run. It will depend on the type of input. So we cannot go with for loop here. Okay.
Sir,
Because, got it now?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Uh, yes.
sir, in case of for loop, can we do like uh, it uh, moves one step from 0, 1 to 3? Can you do it in such a way that it moves from 0 to 3 to 6 to 9
Yes.
like that?
Yes,
If
we
you
can go for that.
for
Uh,
instead of for I in something, we say for I star 3 in something. So will it work?
yes, it will work.
Yes.
But like we have already discussed that we can give the increment. By default, the increment is 1. We can have 2 or 3 as the increment, but still there will be a problem because it will be skipping 2. Sometimes if instead of this, it was something like this, like this, ZAE. So it will check ZAE and then it will skip this whole thing and then it will go to AH. Okay. In that case, our we will not be getting the results we want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That is why we are going for while loop. We
This
can skip 3. Yes.
this code will also create problems, sir, in some special cases where there are not three vowels at the end.
Okay.
If there
Let's
are
try
only
the.
two vowels or either there consonant at the end, then it will give
Let's
out
try.
of index,
Yes. String out of range. Yes.
out of range.
Because we are checking the next 3.
Hmm.
Right. So we can say uh, length of word -2.
-2.
We have to go till -2. Yes, very rightly pointed out. Okay. Yes, now it is working fine. But there is a problem here again. If the last two
It should
letters
be
are
less
missing in
also,
this case.
right?
Yeah, yes, Grasma, what you are saying? You were saying
Letter
something?
also, no? SO.
Yes, SO, that is missing. So how will we take care of that?
Sir, we don't need to check it
The last
because
one.
yes, sir. Because already we are not getting three consecutive vowels because only two characters are remaining. So there is no possibility of finding
Yes.
three
So
vowels.
what we can do is that at the last, we can add these two. And how can we do that? Then we will also have to check if this is not consecutive. Here we will, in the else statement, we'll have to check if, uh, yeah, if I equal to, there are solutions for everything, but we will have to check, right? So if it is, if we are not getting consecutive at the end, okay, so we'll have to add the whole thing, right? So we will have to put something like this in return equal to what we will have to add last three letters. So we will add word square bracket I plus word square bracket I plus one. Okay, then it will be
Sir, I don't understand why we are doing this.
uh, because at the last, if we are at the last, okay, and we are not getting three consecutive ones, like in this case, what is happening is that last two letters S and O, that is not being shown in the output. Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then in the else, we will put this one, else. Okay. And in both these cases, I plus equals to 1. Okay. Still, it is not equal to length of word minus 2. Okay, not, sorry, minus 3, not 2. Yeah. Now it's fine.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So that is why sometimes when we, like I discussed at the beginning of the class itself, sometimes if you make the whole big program and then you test, a lot of problems can occur. That is why it is generally said working small steps and you will get the output very easily. Okay, like we tackled one problem at a time and we were able to get. Though, like in the beginning itself, I knew there was some error like for loop we cannot use and this, but we went for it. And later on, when we found the problem, we corrected it slowly. So that is the way. Don't try to get everything correct in the first go. That is not the very correct way of getting it because certainly there will be some errors and there will be some problems that you will be able to easily solve later on. You just mark it or flag it using a comment that this will be an error in future if it is a big code. Okay, fine. So any questions related to the problems we discussed?
Yes, sir. I have a small question. So,
Yes.
can you please give me a short explanation of the difference between set and tuple?
Okay. Set and tuple. See, set is a data type. Tuple is a data type. But there, the first difference is set. You can have only one occurrence of each thing. Like A cannot occur. There will be single A. Okay. Multiple occurrences cannot be there. Tuple, multiple occurrences can be there. Anything can be there. It is, you can say, just a list that cannot be changed. A fixed list. Set is something where a single occurrence. You can say a dictionary and set are very similar in this sense that you can say a set is a dictionary without values, only keys. And in a dictionary, we can have only one key. A key cannot reoccur. A key cannot be 2 times, 3 times. And that is the basic understanding. The second thing is that in sets, like till now you have been seeing list tuples. Okay, in list and tuples, the sequence matters. If you have put A at the index 1, B at index 2, C at index 3, they will remain like that until unless you change something. But but in case of dictionary and in case of set, the position does not matter. That is why they are indexed using key. In a dictionary, we never go for indexing like square bracket 1, 0 like that. We go with key because there the position changes. Position does not matter. Position is not fixed. That is a fundamental difference between list and tuple compared with dictionary and set. In dictionary and set, the position is irrelevant. The key is relevant because if you put in case of set, if you have something like a set s equals to a s d e, okay, and if you try to append s dot append a, what will happen? A will go there and replace this first a because a can occur only once. It is not going to be added somewhere here, and that is why the position will not matter. Position can be anything. And in fact, sometimes it happens that when you are printing S, you will find that the position changed. In the first go, if you printed somewhere, in the second go, it can change. Generally, it does not change much, but it changes. And it is not relevant because set and dictionary, the position, that is why we never go for indexing them by values, index values. Their indexing is through key, through the value itself. Okay, fine, got it.
Sir,
Yes, Suraj.
I get.
Yes, Suraj, you are saying something.
sir, why do we need tuple if we cannot append it or cannot delete?
Uh,
I mean,
I, I think you missed that part where we discussed that
So
tuples.
this you asked some time ago. This
Yes,
was a part of the question.
yes, I asked this. In fact, I think that was the question too, right? That okay. Anyway, we can just
sir, I
okay.
joined a little late, so
Yeah, not an issue. The use of tuple is sometimes we need constants, you can say, or references. Like suppose you need a conversion factor that is not going to change throughout your program, and you don't want that anything is going to change it until and unless it is absolutely needed. Okay, in that cases we go for tuple. Like in case of dictionary, what we do is that when we take out that key value pair, you see they are presented as tuple. So the whole tuple can be replaced, but inside it cannot be changed, because what we do is that in case of dictionary, you must have seen that the key must not be changed. The value can be changed, but key must not be changed. So whenever you have to change it, the whole pair is updated. Like if we have something like A3, okay, it will be in commas, sorry, it will not like this. Okay, so we suppose we want to change A to 4, we replace this whole thing with A4. Okay, we don't go for something like where we can change this will remain 3, but we will make it B. That is not possible. And where you don't want changes to be done, you want that it can be updated. It whole thing has to be deleted and replaced. There you go for tuple. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Fine. So that's all for today.
I have
See
already
you
asked
all.
my questions.
Yes.
Yeah. So see you all in the next class.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you all.